Hey, what it do? Today I'm bringing you a very special whiteboard episode. You're going to want to stick around and watch this. Unlike any of my other episodes where I just sit here and ramble on and on and on all day about whatever I want to plumbing related wise, right? I'm going to pull out my very special whiteboard. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be breaking down the four main construction trades that you should get into. We're going to talk about plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, and carpenters. These are the four most major trades that anybody who wants to get into construction should be paying attention to. And I noticed from a lot of my comments and questions, people are always asking about, what's better, being an electrician, being a carpenter, being a plumber, what are the benefits of each one? And I'm going to kind of go over that a little bit. Also, bear with me. I'm getting over a major cold. I'm real stuffy right now. I got to keep a cough drop in my mouth, so keep from coughing, because unless you want me to sit here and be hacking up a lung this whole episode, just bear with me, all right? So let's get rolling into it. All right. Ta-da! Look at that. I've been working for the past 5 minutes on this thing. All right. Are you a great listener? I hope so. I'm leaving this up here because a lot of y'all need to see this, but really that's for my daughter, because we're working on trying to keep her listening ears up and going. You know what I mean? If you got kids, you understand. You know how this game goes. All right? Without further ado, let's get into it. Yep. So, like we said, we have the four main trades. You become an HVAC tech, electrician, carpenter, plumber. Everything that I'm going to talk about is going to be either service related, actually primarily service related, along with you're going to have union versus non-union. Sorry, didn't realize y'all cannot see that. So here's all service related, at least for HVAC, electrician, plumber. Carpenter is not so much service related. They're not going out just to fix a wall that fell in for the most part. These are guys that are going to be going in, building the houses, doing the general construction. That's going to be their job, right? They do have union and non-union, though, so just keep that in mind, okay? Bear with me, like I said, I ain't taking no breaks. We're going right through this, all right? Union, non-union, and we got service, okay? So to start it off, my HVAC brothers, I love y'all. Y'all are very important. HVAC, what do they deal with? They bring us heat and AC. Very simple. Heat and AC. That is what you will be dealing with as an HVAC technician. You will be installing furnaces, boilers, maybe steam systems, depending on where you're at. If you're like New York or Ohio or, northeastern coast, northwest, you might be dealing with that kind of stuff. That's primarily what you're dealing with, and that's about it. It's about as simple as it gets. I got a lot of friends who are HVAC technicians. They love it. It seems like it's a very easy job where you can make good money. But, and you'll see these numbers here, the 58, the 60, and the 261s. Those are the median salaries that you will make in this field. So the average HVAC technician in the United States is making $58,000 a year, right? You're responsible for heating and air conditioning. You're going to be responsible for servicing these units. That goes for union and non-union. And just so you understand too, the difference between these two, between union and non-union, generally is size. If you're union, if you work for a union, think about it as big, okay? So in the union, you're dealing with typically the same stuff that non-union people deal with, but on a much larger scale. So like, let's take plumbing for an example, union versus non-union. A non-union, you're going to deal more with residential homes. I'm going to be dealing with the mom and pop type people, going to the places that they live. If I'm working union, I'm going to be dealing with apartment buildings, hospitals, skyscrapers, things of that nature. Much bigger much bigger products, you know, if you want to call it that or whatever. Bigger places, bigger pipes, bigger materials. Same with HVAC. Bigger heating units, bigger cooling units. The job's probably going to be a little bit more rigorous. But you typically, if your union was big, so when you think about big, that's also bigger pay, right? Not necessarily the case, but that's just typical, okay? If you're going to go union, you can expect to make a bit more money if you're going to be on the service side of things. So non-union equals small and smaller pay. I'm going to differentiate this real quick though, okay? Even though non-union, it's smaller base pay. But for a lot of these, excluding carpenters, so for your HVAC technicians, your electricians, your plumbers, if you were on a commission-based company or work for a commission-based company, you will far outpace union by far. Because from my understanding, in the union, they typically are not commissioned. I've yet to meet a company or anybody that works for a union where it's commission-based pay. That's just where I'm at here. I don't know if that's the case across the board. Okay, so keep that in mind when I'm talking about this. I don't know everything. I'm not the magic magician genie out here that just knows it all. But what I'm telling you all is from my personal experience. And just like I tell you all, if you're interested in this stuff, these are all great careers to get into. You will completely change your life. And this is why I talk about this, because ever since I became a plumber, completely turned my life around, changed everything. Everything's better. Money in the bank. I'm eating good. I eat steaks 3 times a week. Shit is great. You can see I'm all hyped up. I got a cold right now, but boom, 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 I'm ready to go. All right, anyways, back to what we were talking about. So non-union, even though you'll make a little bit less money per hour, you can make more on commission-based jobs. All right. That's the gist of this stuff, okay? Back to the main point, though. I know y'all got to deal with my ADHD brain, okay? I'll be my boop, 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 boop. Y'all ever seen the, what's that dude from The Office or whatever? He's got the little map where he's got, like, pinpoints going everywhere, you know, hitting all types of different shit, and his brain's all scattered. Yeah, I might as well be him. It's going to take me a minute to get my point out, but I'm going to hit 100 different things on the way there. All right, so back to this. Anyways, HVAC, they deal with heat and they deal with cooling. Very simple. Very straightforward, okay? Electricians, this is even more simple, okay? They deal with electrical. I wish I had a soundboard because I would send off like fireworks and all sorts of shit like that. Boom, boom, big whoop. Electricians deal with electrical. That's it. If you think about anything electrical, you got outlets in your house, you got lights, you got receptacles, you need to be able to flip a switch, have stuff turned on, you need to be able to plug things in and have them work. You gotta have electrical to your house, any commercial building that you have. Their code book is thick. I will give you that. You got a lot to learn. But it's just electrical. From my understanding, they don't deal with anything else. And I got a lot of electrical buddies, and all they deal with is running wires, doing outlets, doing service. It honestly, to me, sounds so damn boring, I couldn't do it. And I was honestly... Here we go. I might have to grab another one. I'm surprised when I looked up that they only make $60,000 a year on average, because all of my buddies who are an electrician make more as an electrician than I was making as a plumber, and I have more experience and more time in the field. And it's funny too, because when I was in school, when I was in plumbing school, They had plumbing, HVAC, carpentry, roofing, a couple other things in plumbing, obviously. That electrical class, they had like 50 people in there, each class. I'm not joking. Whereas our plumbing class always had maybe about 12 people, 13-ish, 15 at the absolute most. Like my third year, we had quite a few people, and half of them dropped. There's a lot more people going for electrical. And personally, I think it's because if you can get paid the same as an electrician and as a plumber, God damn it. If you can get paid the same as an electrician versus a plumber, and this one, as an electrician, you get to go home clean damn near every day. If anything, you're going up in hot attics and drilling holes. you ain't covered in poop like I am. So honestly, you're probably better off doing that if you want a little bit cleaner job. Same with HVAC. That's the other thing. They go home clean. You don't get that dirty dealing with HVAC. You get cuts on your hands dealing with that tin, cutting all that, I can't even think, all that sheet metal. Your hands are going to look gruesome after a while, unless you wear some gloves. But you can make a lot of money as an electrician. And also, just like we talked about with HVAC and plumbers, if you get a commission-based pay, you can make some good money. And also, it's HVAC, electrician, carpenter, plumber, all these are very easy to start your own business and build your own clientele and make some real. That's how you make the real money, is once you get into your own business. That's a whole different episode, though. I don't even think I'm going to touch on that in this one. Maybe I will. If I feel like rambling for another hour, 30 minutes, maybe I'll touch on the business side of it. All right, so electricians, they deal with electrical. They get paid the same as a plumber for the most part. Easy work, simple stuff to deal with. Stop calling. Damn, if I answer the phone, I'd answer it. Damn. Sorry, y'all. That's the thing about running a business. I'm going to tell you about. That phone does not stop ringing. If you're halfway decent at what you do, that phone's going to always ring. I don't care if it's Sunday night at 9 o'clock. That thing is going to ring, and money's going to constantly be calling you. All right, back to it. So electricians, they deal with electrical. You can do union, non-union, obviously. Same thing. Union, you're dealing with bigger stuff, right? You're dealing with bigger electrical, dealing with larger components, but you're running wire. Service side, you're fixing receptacles, testing why electrical isn't working, why breakers are tripping. Ooh, so hard. Let's get into the carpenters. This is a more tricky one, for sure. And probably a little bit more difficult to get into, because I never see a lot of jobs where they're asking for carpenters. But if you think about it, carpenters, they are... Let me get the right color out here. These are the builders. Okay? Typically, like, inside stuff. They're not doing the brick walls and that kind of stuff. The carpenter is the one who is doing the framing and putting the walls up in the house. And I guess a carpenter, if you have a wood structure-based house, they're going to be responsible for that too, right? So obviously you're going to have union and non-union with that as well. You have union and non-union with carpenters. But from my experience and from the guys that I know that are carpenters, they don't have that luxury of really having a commission-based job. Because carpenters are more so tied into the overall housing market or even the commercial real estate market. As long as things are being built, carpenters will have a job. Also, as long as people have money in their pockets and they're doing renovations and expansions on their houses, that's where carpenters come in. There's not really a whole lot to sell when you think about it. Versus like an HVAC, I could sell you the Cadillac version of the of a heating system and get a good commission base off of that. Same with an electrician. I can upsell you on certain light fixtures and little flippy doos and things like that that'll bring me more money. Carpenter, what are you going to sell me? The difference between putting wood up and putting those little stringy, what the hell are they? They're like steel, not steel beams, but if you've ever seen them, mostly in commercial settings, it's like those little tinfoil stud wall things, whatever you want. I can't even think what the hell they're called. I get pissed every time I see them. Cheapest thing I've ever seen in my life. And they cut you up like crazy. But there's not a lot to upsell. So when you think about that base pay, or not that base pay, but your median pay, yeah, you can go up a bit from there, but your upside to it is directly tied to being in a union. That's where you'll make the really good money being a carpenter, because you're dealing with bigger stuff. But there's no real growth potential in that. And that's one thing I'm going to talk about in this video too, is why commission and things of that nature are almost better for you, and they're going to help you become a better individual. Now, let's get into my favorite one. And as you guys know, I'm biased, so I'm going to talk about this one. I have a bit more to say about it, obviously. But plumbers, we deal with everything: water, gas, sanitary, storm, and even, hopefully you guys can see this once I'm done, you will also deal with boilers as well. So even though HVAC, I'm busy. Even though in HVAC you will deal with, sorry, rambling at the door. Squirrel, boop. Anyways, HVAC, sometimes they'll deal with boilers, but mostly special plumbers are going to deal with boilers. But look at this list, okay? HVAC, you deal kind of with two things, right? Electricians, you deal with one main component. Carpenters, same thing. You're dealing with one main component, right? Look at this, plumber. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things. And there's a lot more that I can touch on with that. Well, I've kind of run out of room on my fancy board over here, right? But this is the basics of it. Because when you think about water, anytime you wash your hands, anytime you hook up a hose to fill up your pool, anytime you flush your toilet, what else do you get water from? When you shower, anything about your drinking water, it's all water related. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's different subsets to that. There's different subsets to gas. There's different subsets to sanitary, storm, boilers, all that stuff. I could probably name 30 categories easy that just deal with plumbing. This is why I push you guys to be plumbers, because it requires more skill than all the other ones. But I understand you have to be a special kind of person to want to be a plumber, because it takes a considerable amount of training and knowledge to understand these concepts and understand this stuff. But like I was saying, so we deal with water. We deal with gas components. So like how your HVAC guys get heating to their furnaces and things of that nature, who do you think installs the main gas line for that? The plumbers do. HVAC guys, they typically do not do like the whole house gas line. That's going to be us plumbers. And this goes commercial, union and non-union all the way through with all this stuff, plumbing related, right? So, touch on water briefly, touch on gas a little bit. Sanitary. This is the fun one. This is where the poop comes into play. Sanitary is when you wash your hands or you flush your toilet or you're taking a shower, you know, that little drain that's in the floor where all your poop and all your other stuff magically disappear to, right? That's your sanitary sewer. I have to know all the codes, all the venting, all the layouts for that. I got to know how to run those pipes in a proper manner. Very calculated, very specific. It's not easy doing that stuff. Storm is similar. So think about your downspouts on the outside of your house, okay? Or if you're like, here where I'm at, we all have basements, right? Well, storm sewers are what keep our basement from flooding. Storm sewers are also what's out in the street when you see like the curb drains and all that, where all the storm water goes. That's storm. Plumbers are typically taking care of that. That is another subset of plumbing as well too. You can get into working with street crews and things of that nature, putting in water lines, gas lines, all that stuff. That's a whole different ball game there. That's more industrial stuff. You can make good money doing that, but there's not typically any like commission-based payoff of that. You work for a company, you get a job, you go do it, you hop on crews. Boilers. So boilers is a way that we heat houses out here. Not sure, mostly more common in the northeast, northwest kind of areas, obviously where we get cold. You guys out in California, down south, you're probably not really going to have them. But it's a specialized system up here that uses hot water to heat your house. And you can also get into steam systems based off of that too. And typically those are plumbers who are installing those systems. Steam is, it's not that it's uncommon, but nobody is really installing those systems anymore. It's mostly service. And this is where I was getting into earlier with the pay scale, right? So you see, I can make the same as a plumber for the most part as I can an electrician. Electrician, I'm coming home clean every day. Plumber, I'm coming home dirty, absolutely dog filthy dirty, right? For the same pay. But look at all of these skills and things I now have to know. And if you think about in your house, just take a look around one day, walk around. Think about what you have that's electrical and HVAC in your house and carpentry-wise versus what you have plumbing. You're going to see way more plumbing components in your house than you are any of the others. Therefore, by being a plumber, you are now more knowledgeable about the things in your house. The other great thing about plumbing as well too, we're first in, we're last out. And what that means is, let's say Sally's building herself a little house over here, right? As a plumber, as soon as those basement walls go up down here, I have to come in and run all my piping in that house. I got to run my water lines. I got to run my sanitary drains. We got to run our storm drains, right? So I literally get to see this house at the very beginning stage, right? And then we come back all the way at the end. After Sally's house is built, the floors are in, the walls are up, things are painted. Then I have to come back in. I get to set toilets. I get to install the faucets, set sinks, hook up water, put in the water heater, all that fun stuff, right? So then not only am I seeing the very beginning of the project, but I'm also getting to see the very end of the project. So then what in turn that does is, not only are you knowledgeable in all these areas over here, but you get to see all components of those too. And generally how they work, and you get to meet these people, talk with them, and you get a better understanding of the whole system in general. HVAC technicians and electricians do also have that luxury, because HVAC technicians are going to come in. Plumbers, we try to beat all of them in, because it's much more difficult for us to run our pipes, water lines, sanitary drainage, all that stuff inside of the house if the plumbers and HVAC technicians have come in first. Anybody that's an electrician or HVAC technician can attest to this. If I put my plumbing in first, your job is harder. If you put your components in first, my job is harder. So it's about who gets there first. So typically the plumber is the person who's in that house first. This goes for new construction. This goes for renovations. You see so much in that side of the field. And you're there for a while too, because if you're doing gas, you're doing water, you're doing sanitary stuff, you're not there for a day doing stuff. You're there for a long time sometimes doing some of that stuff, depending on how efficient you are. So, even though you make the same as an electrician, typically electricians on the higher end of the scale, they're going to hit around 100,000. I honestly don't know what it is for HVAC. I cannot imagine it's much more than 80,000, right? Carpenters, I have absolutely zero knowledge about. But your top end plumbers, like your highest 2 percentile, 3 percentile, they're going to hit 250,000 a year. 100,000 a year is like your top 20 percentile. It's not that hard. If you're a good plumber and you're decent at sales, to hit these kind of numbers, especially if you're really good at sales and depending on the market you're in, you can hit 250,000. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not doing that with any of these other ones unless you are a business owner. And here's the thing you have to understand. If you own the business, the sky is the limit. You can make however much you possibly can, depending on where you're going to let yourself take it to, right? You can be on the lower end, you can be on higher end. There's any of these guys that own these companies, guys, girls, whoever, you could be a multimillionaire. No problem. If you're good at your job, good at managing people, you could very easily do that. So, back to what I was talking about for pay scale, though. How do you hit this? How do you hit that 250,000 versus like an electrician's going to hit 100 and an HVAC technician's going to hit 80 or 90, right? Well, think about this. You're dealing with one component here. You're dealing with one component here. You're dealing with 30 components here, right? That's 30 different things I get to sell to you that I'm knowledgeable about. Versus these guys, you don't really have, you got things to upsell, but you're very limited. into what you can upsell there. Whereas plumbing, I can come in and knock out a ton of stuff and upsell you on everything. And I don't say that in a bad way too. But you have to understand your customer and what they want. And that's the other, honestly, it's a great thing for all the trades, because when you have to deal with people, not so much carpenters really, but for the HVAC electricians and plumbers, you have to learn a lot of stuff, right? Not only do you have to understand your job is like just doing HVAC or electrical or plumbing, you got to know how to talk to people, right? You have to learn sales. And I'm not saying like you should know all this stuff before you get into it, and don't be hindered by that at all. You're going to learn it. All of this is going to give you real life experience, and it's going to teach you these things. As long as you're one of those people that you want to grow, you want to do better, you will learn all that with this. So you're going to learn personal skills. You're going to learn you're going to learn how to talk to people. You're going to learn how to sell stuff. I hate to even say this one. It's true, and this is where people get a bad rap, but you're going to learn manipulation, because to a degree, depending on your customer's wants and needs, you have to understand a degree of manipulation, right? You don't want to sell things to your customers that they don't want or you don't think that they need, right? So you almost have to manipulate the situation. Now, in my mind, there's moral manipulation and there's immoral manipulation. I used to work for a company who was very immoral. They were all about sales. Every single guy there made big money. Like, we're talking stupid money, like $90,000, $100,000 a year. And this is over 10 years ago. These guys were doing this, right? But they would sell customers everything, even if they didn't need it. And it was one of the main reasons I actually left that company, is because what I witnessed one time was we were out snaking a sewer, right? And we could not get it cleared with the machine. Or with the snaking rotor machine, we could not get it cleared. Bunched up with roots. So what we did was we sold them on like a spot repair dig, where we would go in with the excavator, dig up the sewer a little bit, put in a clean out so we could get better access and try to clean the sewer that way. I witnessed the manager go down in the hole after we broke out this section of sewer, smacked the top of the pipe with a hammer, took out the broken piece of clay and took it to this old lady who was our customer at the time, and told her, it's like, your entire sewer is crumbling. You need to replace the whole thing. And told her it's going to cost her like $20,000. I quit shortly after that, because she didn't need that. And honestly, looking back at it, if I'd known better, I would have stepped in at the time and said something about it, because that's not right. So when it comes to sales with all this stuff, there's moral and there's immoral, right? But you are going to learn that stuff, and you're going to have to learn how to play on that a little bit, which is also why it's important to understand the type of company you're going to work for. Are you going to work for somebody where you're just getting a couple percentage of your sales, or is your entire paycheck based off of your sales? Because if your entire paycheck is based off of your sales, more likely than not, you're probably going to do immoral things, because you have to eat at the end of the day, which I understand. But you need to make that call for yourself if that's the type of technician in any of these that you want to be. If you want to be a moral salesperson, go with a company that just gives you a percentage of the sales, not like your full pay is based off of your commission. If you don't care, if you're walking around out here like a slime and you don't care about how you treat people or what you do, you're all about your money, go with a company that pays you 100% commission on your jobs, and you'll hit that $250,000 a year. No problem. Might not sleep well at night. Karma's a bitch. It's going to come around. That's for sure. But getting back to it, so you're going to learn personal skills, right? You're going to learn dealing with people. You're going to learn psychology. You're going to learn manipulation to a degree. You're going to learn how to fix stuff. You're going to learn how to troubleshoot. And with that comes patience. So if you're an impatient person, if you actually truly work on yourself, dealing with any of these components and troubleshooting things and in the service field, you're going to have to learn how to be patient with some stuff, because it's not always smooth sailing. Things go south real quick, and you got to learn how to stay cool, calm, and collected about any of that stuff, right? So you're going to learn how to stay patient. Think about how much you grow as an individual, right? In your mind. And think about where you're at right now, right? How much better off you would be if you knew better how to talk to people, you knew sales, you had some patience about yourself, right? And you knew how to fix all this stuff. You're a walking gem at that point. You are going to be 180 from what you used to be, which is why I preach this stuff all the time. Because my entire life, they told you, if you want to be successful and get all this stuff, you got to go to college. And I'm telling you, it's absolute bullcrap. You become a plumber, make more and learn a lot more than anybody that went to college if you really put your mind to it. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. But these are the main type of construction trades you should be looking at. There are other ones. There's plenty of others. There's probably about 40 of them in all honesty. These are the main, most common ones, right? These are going to be the ones the easiest to find a job with. These are going to be the ones that pay you a bit better. These are going to be the ones that teach you the most skills. With any of these jobs. Woo, my knees. Damn, I'm getting old, dude. Woo. With any of these, it is going to have you grow as an individual, especially if you put your mind to it. And this is also where, I put union and non-union on here. You're going to learn a lot more of these skills being non-union. Because non-union, remember, you're dealing with residential, which means you're dealing more with people. Versus union, you're dealing with buildings. You're probably talking to like a maintenance manager or something like that. So yeah, you develop some skills to a degree, but you're mostly in there doing the work. You don't learn the same skills union versus non-union. So you got to understand that. Personally, in my experience, I would always stay non-union. I would not go union. The only way I would go union, probably looking back at it, is just for the schooling. Because typically when you're in a union, they're going to pay for your apprenticeship program. You might not get that same benefit. And also that only applies to you guys that want to get your license. Whether it's you don't even really need it for your contractor's license, from my understanding, which is what you want to get if you're going to start your own business, which we'll talk about that in a different video. But to get like your journeyman or your master's license, if you want to keep working for companies and get more money, you get those license. That's where the union will be a bit better for you. If you don't want your own business, you want to make good money, go home at the end of the day, have some really good benefits, go with the union, with any of these, okay? If you don't care about that, if you want to be more on the sales side, learn more life skills, maybe start your own business one day, go non-union and work for a small mom and pop company if you can. You'll learn the absolute most that way. You get the most training. It might not pay for your schooling, but you will develop more life skills going union than you will non-union. So you have to decide for yourself whether it's better for you to make that money at the union side, or you could even potentially make more money non-union but also getting more life skills. And don't forget this either. This is also why I preach this stuff. Any of these, right? You could go anywhere in the world with these skills once you learn this. Let's say you don't like being an electrician, right? You don't like that. It's boring for you. You don't like coming home clean every day. You'd rather come home covered in crap. You can become a plumber. But now you've got these skills. You understand the basics of electrical, which actually, in turn, there are a lot of electrical components in plumbing that'll help you out. Same with HVAC. Let's say you don't like cutting up tin all day long and getting your hands all greased up, and you want to become an electrician. Well, now you know a little bit of HVAC components. You do that stuff on the side, make some money that way, and now you're an electrician. Now you're making the big money, right? You're having a fun job. You get to go home clean every day, sip your coffee at night before you go to bed. Carpenter, whatever. You want to build some stuff, you want to put some wood together, use some nail guns, shoot at your buddies, that's the one to go with. If you want to learn all the other good stuff, you don't mind getting dirty, coming home covered in poop, grease, oil, become a plumber. You'll learn a lot more with that. And it, in my opinion too, I think just because of how many components you're dealing with as a plumber versus all these others, it's considerably easier to start a plumbing business Because even if you just specialized in one of these, which a lot of companies will, you'll have companies that just specialize in gas lines. You'll have like companies that I subcontract out for doing my sewers. They'll just specialize in sanitary sewers or storm sewers, waterproofing, things of that nature. You can specialize in one of those components. It'll be your niche, and you can make an absolute killing on it. Keep this stuff in mind. Drop me some comments. I want to hear about what y'all got to say. If you think there's a trade I should touch on, or if you guys just feel like hopping on there and commenting, whatever, blabbling on, drop me something. Let's talk about it. If you watch my videos or you've been following me for a while, you know that I will respond to you. I'm very concise about responding to people that actually put real comments on there. Let's talk about it. You watch some of my videos about how to find a job, which I think I'm going to drop another video like that about how to actually, I'm going to erase this, and we're going to come back to the whiteboard again. I kind of like this where I can break it all down for y'all. But we'll come back. I'll talk about how to actually find a job, where to look for jobs, all that fun stuff, how to get the most money you can out of this stuff. Because I know at the end of the day, honestly, money's important to all of us, right? That's what it's important to me. Money, whoever said money doesn't buy happiness, they ain't never had no fucking money. All right, I've rambled enough. It's been more than long enough. My bond is getting tight. I'm ready to take this off, hop in the shower. I appreciate you sticking around and watching the video. Drop a comment, hit me with a like. Let's talk about it, all right? Y'all be easy. Have a good New Year. Find this off button. You know by now, I don't even edit my videos anymore. I'm just rambling straight through this stuff. I do not have the time to sit here and edit these videos anymore. I just don't. You know what? That's the last thing I'll say. Just for those of you that are new to the channel, if you've really watched this that long, you know by now. So I own my own plumbing business. I'm so damn busy. It's unreal. It's the middle of winter, and my phone still will not stop ringing, okay? Keep that in mind when you're thinking about it. Deuces, y'all.